of Podbiz Studios, then you can come in and let me tell you what you get. So it is $100 a month, all right, and you get 3 hours worth of recording time. And so we have an engineer in here, and all you need to do is bring yourself, bring your guests, and then this way we'll go ahead and we'll record your podcast for you. Now with that, you also get your intro included and your outro, which let me tell you for a fact that I know nobody is doing that around these parts, okay? So all you need to do is just come out, record your stuff, and then what we like to do is make sure that this way you have enough content to go into the next month. So this gives you plenty of opportunity to be able to record, to make sure that you have multiple podcasts, and then we send you a finished MP3. If you need additional marketing help, we can go ahead and create some of that content for you. But the biggest thing is that people need to hear your voice, and that's why we're here at Podbiz Studios. So feel free to just go to podbizstudios.com, and then this way what you'll be able to do is see all of the advantages that happen with the studio, and you can go ahead and you can pay for your membership, and guess what? And then you'll be able to start recording those podcasts in December, and you could drop them in December if you want, or you could go ahead and just wait till January to launch them, but you'll have all the content. So it's totally completely up to you as to what you want to do, but we want to make sure that your voice is heard at Podbiz Studios. Yay! So good morning, everybody. I am back. I'm Chisa Pennix-Brown, and you are now with Give It to the People Live. And I get the opportunity to interview really awesome people every week, and this is our third week. And so first of all, I try to pick some of the best people that have interesting things. And this lady right here, I've been following for years. And I love the fact that she is a body positive. But I love an old pretty girl too, right? So pretty thick girl, I'm all for it. And natural. That's like a trifecta in my book. So today I get to be here with Ashley, who everybody else probably knows as I am Fab Ellis. So welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. This is awesome.
Yeah, you coming up here giving us these fall vibes.
I'm trying to do something.
Oh, no, you're doing something. You're doing something. So I just want to jump right into the interview.
Okay.
I want to know, because I'm sure people want to know, and then people did ask some questions, so I'll go ahead and shout them out, the people that ask questions online. But what made you start wanting to blog in the first place? Because she is a blogger, but you do a whole lot of other things too, but blogging is the main thing. Right. So what made you even want to start doing that?
Well, it really got started probably in about 2010. I graduated from college in 2008, and I went to school for communications and professional writing. And I found it really hard to find, like, my dream job. My dream job was to work in a magazine, like be an editor and things like that, and it was really difficult. And so I started working at AT&T full-time, and one of my friends there was like, well, why don't you start your own thing and start a blog? And I was like, well, I don't know what that is, but I'll start it out. I'll start it. Yeah. So I started it in 2010, and I didn't know it would lead into all of this. It was just supposed to be like a creative outlet for me, and then I never thought it would be like my full-time.
And that's amazing. So I think that when I look at people and I start to see what they do, and I've told you this before, and we've had meetups and stuff, right? And one of the things that I said is that is a whole job. Like, it is a lot of work that really goes into it. And I think people think, oh, just take pretty pictures and post them.
Lord, no.
And it's not just take pretty pictures and post them, even though that's a big part of it.
Right.
But can you give people insight into, like, what it really takes to be a blogger full time?
Yeah, well, it definitely takes a lot of discipline and consistency. Because I think a lot of times people just, like you said, they see the pretty pictures and they don't think about the work that goes into it. Like, for instance, I mentioned today, I have a photo shoot right after I get done.
She is not playing games. She was like, if I'm getting up early in the morning with y'all, I'm not about to waste all of this beauty.
Exactly. Like, we're going ahead and getting everything done.
I believe it.
But, I mean, it takes a lot of consistency and, like I said, dedication. So I'm planning shoots with my photographer. I'm reaching out to brands. I'm corresponding with brands. I'm planning, upcoming sponsored content. content. I'm planning blog content. And then which I know we'll probably get into it, since I have like the meetup group for bloggers here, I'm planning things with that too. So it's always... it's a lot. It's a lot of planning that goes along. And a lot of times people don't find out things until the back end. But definitely a lot of planning, trying to be consistent, and just trying to come up with new things too. Because I think a lot of times people see the pretty pictures and they think, oh, she just does beauty and fashion. Like, no, I'm trying to encourage women as well. So trying to give you an encouraging word. So it's just like a lot of just back end planning.
And that's exactly what I wanted to get into. So you just segued into it, because one thing that I think that I really like about what you do is, when I look at it, it does have a religious influence to it. And so when I'm talking about that, do you find it difficult to show people you, but then also, talk about, Jesus is my homeboy at the same time? So, because you know what, I think people find a difficulty sometimes when it comes to saying, well, look, I am whatever it is, whatever religion, and then this is what I do too. And then some of the content that you post, it may be somebody that's of a particular religion that's like, well, God didn't say for you to do all of that. You know?
Right. No, I understand. I think I used to feel a little uncomfortable with it. Like, I was like, I don't know, because I don't want to push it down people's throat. But at the same time, like, I want to show people this is who I am. So I think for me, I try to keep it a good balance.
Okay.
So, I may give you a quote or a scripture or something in the morning, like on Instagram stories, or I may talk about God occasionally in a post, but I'm also telling you about, I love trap music, and I love,
First of all, she was up here talking about the baby. I saw you yesterday. I was like, okay, so we into the baby. I was listening. I promise you, I was paying attention. But you know what though? What? I do love the baby. Like, I didn't want to like it at first, but when you listen, he really does have a good message, and he actually is saying something.
Right.
And he's rhyming fast, but I mean, I'm from New York, so that's nothing.
It's no problem.
But it's like, I really do like the baby.
Yeah, I like him too. But yeah, like we said, just balance.
Yes.
I'm not trying to push anything down anyone's throat, but hey, I am a Christian. This is something I'm going to talk about occasionally. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. But I think the good thing is that a lot of my followers, even if that's not what they like, they're like, I still love her though.
They're respectful.
Yeah, they're respectful of it. So just balance.
Okay, so I'm just going to do this. We're going to do something new for today. We're going to start this. So I have these random questions. I'm going to just twist them around. And then while you're looking for your question, I want you to read your question and then answer it. But I'm going to find the questions that people asked on Instagram.
Okay, sure.
All right, so let me go.
I feel something.
Okay.
So this first question, what's your favorite dessert?
Oh, that's a good one. Okay, what is it? I need to know that.
Oh, my gosh. Now, listen, I love sweets. And I know if my husband's watching, he's probably like, oh, my gosh, she loves everything. Probably it's a tie between maybe cookies and cream ice cream.
Oh, that is good.
I know.
Yes.
Or like country old school, like yellow cake with chocolate icing.
Okay, you went to is it the box kind or
no,
do it need to be
no,
original?
Original. Somebody made that. Handmade.
Okay, because I just need to make sure. But that's good though.
Ooh, I love it. I love it.
Yes. Okay. So see, that's good. And you just picked the question. Everybody knows that I love food. I'm a foodie, and so my husband is always watching, and he knows I'll be like, yeah, I like to eat this and that and this and that. So that's good. So now let me pull up a question that came from Instagram. So Michaela, is it Micavella? Micavella. Hopefully that's your name. But she said, where do you find style inspo?
Well, I think the cliche thing would be to say everywhere. But if I were to really get down to it, honestly, from a lot of other bloggers or because I'm always, with me going to New York and stuff, I'm always looking at other people and I'm like, And a lot of times in the blogging world, people think that someone has to look exactly like them to gain inspiration. No, I see somebody, it could be somebody random on the street and I'm like, I like how they did that. Let me try it for my size.
Yeah.
So I would say that, and then also Pinterest.
First of all, I live on Pinterest. I stay on Pinterest. I've been looking at recipes because it's almost Thanksgiving, so I'm a Pinterest, I'm a Pinterest hoe, okay? But it's H-A-U-X, okay?
Right, on a Sunday.
Actually, I hoes every day, okay? All right, but that's because I believe that for me it is inspiration. It is where you find those things, and so I've been looking at a lot of different stuff where I'm like, what? I know one thing that you do is thrift, and I don't thrift as much, and that's more so because they trying to mess up. I told told you every week is something going on. Don't even worry about that. But it's more so because I probably don't have the time to go thrifting as much, so I shop online a lot more. But even in doing that, it's things that I found where I'm like, I want to get the plain whatever it is so that this way I can dress it up. Right. And what I notice about you is you like to use a lot of accessories, which does my heart good.
Okay, I know you love a good necklace and stuff too. Everything.
I do. But you had those earrings with the lips. I mean, it's always a good accessory. So when you're talking about that, don't tell everybody everything. Okay. But where are you getting some stuff from? But don't tell everybody all of the places, because they don't need all sharing. Of that detail. Oh, so you one of those people.
I'm one of those. I don't mind sharing.
But see, that's why I'm not a full-time blogger, because I'm like, I don't want to tell you where I got it from. I just want you, look at me. This is it. Like, you don't need to know where I got all of this from. And so, okay, so give us where do you find some things?
Well, I will say a lot of times Lane Bryant. Okay. Because a lot of people, they may or may not know, I do work at part-time at Lane Bryant. And actually, one thing that's exciting, starting on Tuesday, they actually have a stylist program, and I'm going to be one of their stylists there. Yeah. Oh, we'll have to get into that.
They didn't even know that. Groundbreaking news.
No, they didn't know that.
Okay, see, y'all getting this new stuff. Y'all don't even know how we do on these Sundays with the exclusive. I need I usually have my tambourine, but I need like a sound drop or something that's like, boom, 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 so I can press a button or something.
Right, yeah.
Okay, so you're gonna be a official
a personal stylist at Lane Bryant here in Greensboro. Okay. They'll have two, myself and another lady named Carmen. Okay. But some of because I work about 10 to 15 hours a week, so some of that will be dedicated to styling people.
Okay, so that means they can come in. So what Lane Bryant are you at? Because they're going to need to know that.
Yeah, sure. I'm at the Lane Bryant here in Greensboro at Friendly Center. Okay. And that's the only one we have now here in Greensboro.
Really? Mm-hmm. They closed the other one?
Well, they had the one in the mall, but that went out to Friendly, so they did close that.
Oh, okay. So that's what it is. Yeah. Then. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. I didn't know that because I don't really go into the mall that often. So I didn't even know that they had closed it, but I knew there was one.
Yeah, and it's actually really huge, too. It's bigger than the one in Burlington and the one in Winston, so a lot of people come to the one here.
So are there going to be stylists at all of the Lane Bryants?
From my understanding, no. Okay. So I think because we are one of the larger ones, we will have one. We will have two here, but they'll have more details on the website on Tuesday. Okay. And then also, if anybody has any questions, they can call the store as well.
Okay, but then this way, look, it's Thanksgiving. You need to get it together. It is Christmas. It's New Year's. Go ahead and just come on in, and then Fab can style you.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure y'all are gonna have some Black Friday and all kinds of sales.
We are gonna have Black Friday deals. I don't know what they are just yet, but I do know typically they'll be like on bras and different things like that. And I am a master fitter, so if you ever need to be fitted for a bra, I got you.
Get them things together. Get them together. But no, that's the next thing that I was gonna ask you. She has this amazing picture. So let me just tell you, go to I Am Fab Ellis. All right. This picture that she has, and since this is my show, now it is Sunday, but y'all know this is the reason I did this show, so I could talk like I want to talk. I told her this summer, I said, you put this picture up, and I said, I don't want you to take offense to this, but I was like, big. Okay, all right, so y'all know what that means. Yeah. Okay. This picture, this don't want to work. It's okay, all right. We're just going to move the sign, because I can't, me and the Give It to the People sign, they trying to do too much today. But she had on this bra, this like blush pink. And that's why I was saying sometimes people would be like, okay, well, it's too much, especially if you're talking about the religion thing. This was one of the most beautiful pictures. And she got these jeans on, honey, and she's just like, what's good out here with this good fitted bra on? And so with that, do you find like that people get I don't want to say offended or inspired. I mean, because it could be a whole lot of different emotions that you get from people if you do show a little bit more of your body and you are plus size. Right. So how do you feel about that?
Well, to be honest, I'm going to be honest. My followers are some of the most awesome people because I feel like they really accept me for who I am. And, of course, I am always going to lose and gain followers throughout the game because that's what it is. Yep. But most of them, if I were to know, I don't know. They never seem to judge me for it. They're always just like, Ashley just does what she does. So, like we said earlier, I listen to trap music. I still love God. I still may show a little bit of skin sometimes. I feel like God still loves me regardless. And I feel like most of the people that follow me, they never seem to say anything. They like the fact that I seem to be versatile because I don't want to be boxed in. As much as I For the most part, because like you see today, I have on a sweater and everything. I do dress modestly.
It's cold outside, though.
Yeah, it is
okay,
cold.
Just FYI. So if you like in Florida watching, it's like 30 degrees here.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, but, I just feel like everybody is just always respectful of it. And they're just like, do you. So that's what I do.
Plus, you got a whole husband.
A whole husband who does not mind.
Who's like, girl, you look good.
Right, exactly.
But you mentioned the pictures. So when you started out, were you taking your own pictures? Because you said now you have a photographer. And so I know people probably want to know, were you taking your own at first? And then you were like, look, I don't want to do that. I just want to be in front of it. How did that work out?
Yeah, well, actually, I did start off with taking my own pictures. Okay. I literally used to take pictures with my cell phone. Okay. Girl. Yeah, but hey, that's what we had to do. Yes. So I would take pictures with my cell phone, and then eventually it got to a friend of mine at work. Man, shout out to her. She let me borrow her point and shoot.
Okay.
And I actually got a tripod, and I set it up. And I used to... just schedule it, and I would hop in front of the picture, hop in for the picture. And then also, my husband used to take my pictures, too.
Okay, and that's what I thought. I did think that. So I wasn't sure. So he's not doing it?
He's not.
Okay, all right. Okay.
No, I do work with just a photographer now. He will take some occasionally for me, like if I'm just going out and I'm like, I really like this outfit. Can you take a picture of it? But most of the time, my photographer, Tammy, takes them.
Okay, all right. And so then you, how often are you scheduling shoots? Because you put out a lot of content.
Well, this summer I was doing way too much.
No, I don't even. Is that a thing?
Well,
that's not a thing.
I say that because I was trying to do it like once a month. We were, because of both of our schedules, and plus it was lighter outside longer. We were shooting like every week. Now. Well, it was great for the content. Yeah. But I was tired. Okay. But now it's normally once or twice a month. And
I think people would probably think you're shooting like every day. I mean, you know what I mean? Just because of the looks and stuff. So when you shoot, and this is just me asking, being nosy.
Sure, no problem.
But do you change clothes in one shoot?
Absolutely, yeah. Like today I'm doing 3 different outfits.
Okay.
I think last week I did technically 5.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm shooting a lot of content at one time. Okay. And we're also like driving around. Like last weekend, she hopped in my car and we just drove around.
Yeah, and no, you know what else? You be getting on my nerves too. I'm just gonna be honest, because I see the murals and I be like, oh, I should take a picture of that, right? And then the next thing I know, Fab be all up in it, and I'm like, I should have took a picture. No, but it's a good thing. Yeah. The reason I'm saying it is because it takes time to scout the locations and then go ahead and put it up. But you be like, oh, it's a mural? Oh, okay, let's go do it. Like, it looks like you be doing it immediately. And that's why I'm like, oh, man. Sometimes I wish I had more time to be able to do it. I see them. Yeah. And then it's like, I would love to go just jump in front of that. But then your mind goes to something else. Right. But it's a different mindset. And I mean, not in a bad way. It's just... You're like, I see it, I need to do this, let's go ahead and put it together. Right. Because that's what you're doing as your main thing.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Now, when you're looking around, are you searching for murals, or do you go online? Or?
Actually, I was going to say, most of the awesome murals I'm at are done by a lady named Gina Franco.
Yes, who did the rainbow walk.
Yeah. So I actually follow her online, and we're Facebook friends as well. Okay. So whenever she posts something, I send it to my photographer, and we lock it in. Like today, I'm going to another one of hers.
Okay, all right. Because, I see it, and I be like, daggone it, she got another good one. But no, it's a good thing. It's not in a bad way. I'm just like, you know what? I want to go stand in front of a mural today. I want to take some pictures. Yeah. And it's like, if I can try to schedule stuff once a month, that's great. It just does not work out like that. But I mean, I'm going to work on that going into the future.
Yes. And it's all good. I mean, you do so much too, so I understand.
But no, I like the fact of you doing like 5 and 3, and then this way you have enough and the rest of that. So the other thing I would say is the time that you take, because we can't let her go without talking about these faces, honey. She gives all the faces. And then you know what, and then you change your hair so much too. Are you changing your hair just because you want to change it, or just because you like, look, I want to just look like something new for my pictures? You know, because some people like me, I pretty much stay pretty much the same. I'm changing hair color, but not necessarily, a drastic different do. But are you like, you know what, let me just give these people something new to look at?
Honestly, I get bored so easily.
Do you?
I really do. And that's why, girl, I know you've seen everything from the shaved sides to the low cut to everything. I get bored. And plus, I'll be honest with you, the older I get, the less I feel like doing hair. So I'm just like, I need something easy and
a good protective style.
Yeah. And then plus my one of my stylists, Christian Chanel, she does such an awesome job with protective styles that she's made me fall in love with them. So I'm like always trying something new with her.
Yeah. Okay. And that makes sense. And then the face, because people always want to know about the face. Do you like the makeup better, or is it the fashion?
Ooh.
I know that's a tough
It's a
toss-up.
tough. Honestly, fashion.
Okay.
I do like fashion more, but it's honestly like 60-40.
Okay.
Because I really love makeup.
It's actually easier to just sit there and do your face than it is to get dressed up and go somewhere. You know what I mean?
It honestly is.
That's an easier thing, but you're really focused on the whole entire look.
Right.
All right. Now, something else that you do that I love, you will put on a print.
Thank you.
And I think that people are scared to put on prints.
Don't be scared. They're so awesome. They're so awesome. I think with prints, a lot of people don't realize that sometimes a print is even if it doesn't seem subtle, it's a subtle way to put some pop in your outfit. You know what I mean? And it doesn't have to be print on print. You can just do a printed shirt and some jeans. You know, take it slow. But I love mixing prints because I feel like it gives you a totally different look. And I feel like sometimes people don't expect plus size women to really be doing it.
Thank you. You know, I live the put on a little outfit.
Listen.
But, I mean, I think that that's the thing, and that's what I love about your brand is that it's like, look, I'm going to put this on, and you're going to like it.
Right.
And if you don't like it, it doesn't matter, because I like it.
Right.
And I think that sometimes, and I'm just going to be honest, it is some plus size things that I see that I do not like, because I'm just like, this looks like all of a mess. But I love it when a woman puts her clothes on, regardless of what size she is.
Right.
That's like... It just feels good when I see that.
And I say that all the time. Like, a lot of times people don't realize when they put on that really nice outfit, it really, not only do you look great, it totally boosts your confidence.
Yes.
I say that to my husband all the time, and I try to say it to the clients I work with too, because I'm like, listen, y'all don't understand how much a good outfit just really pumps it up.
It does. It does.
So I feel you on that. And I try to encourage women a lot because I meet a lot of women who don't care about how they look, and that hurts my heart so much.
Doesn't it? It makes me really sad.
Right. And they're like, oh, I don't see the point. And I'm like, if you would just try.
But you know what? Let me tell you this, and I want to see if you get this comment too. People will say, well, I knew I had to dress up because I knew you was coming dressed up. And I'm just like... Shouldn't you dress up for you?
Why are you
worried about what I'm wearing? I'm gonna come out looking like I'm supposed to look.
Yeah.
But people will be like, or they'll say to you like, "Oh, you look so nice. I wish I would have dressed up." You knew what you were doing and where you were coming before you left out the house.
Right. Oh my gosh.
But do you get that where people? It's kind of like it is a definite compliment to you, but then it seems like they feel bad that they didn't dress up, that they didn't put on their clothes.
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny? I don't hear that a lot, but being in the blogging world, I end up hanging out with a lot of bloggers or people who love fashion.
Yep.
So they'll end up being dressed up too. So I'm always like, yes.
See?
Or they'll be like, hey, Ash, I'm wearing this. What you wearing? Shout out to my friend Shelby because she always does that.
Okay, yes. But do you try to like coordinate, like if you go to certain things, so that this way, I mean, and I know you're going to a whole bunch of different events, but if you have that blogger friend, do you guys try to compliment each other, like with what you're going to wear in advance?
Maybe not necessarily like compliment as far as like color, but we'll be like, oh, well, this is the type of look I'm going for, like maybe casual or dressy, and yes, we'll try to like coordinate in that way, definitely. Okay. But I have so many friends with such unique style that it's just like, I'm like, just come with whatever.
Yeah, and then you just be inspired by them, and then it just keeps on going. So I think that maybe because you're probably hanging out with other bloggers, like everybody is a lot more conscious of what they have on.
Right.
Now, this is one thing, and I just wanted to get some feedback on this, because what I've noticed is if I'm going to something and I'm trying to like be bloggerish, okay? You do things in a different way, right? Because you're trying to capture the moments. Do you ever find that you're trying to capture the moment so much that you don't feel like you really get to be in the moment?
Oh, that's such a good question. I used to do that. Like, I would go to events that they would have, like, in different businesses, and I would be so busy on my phone, I would get home and be like, I don't feel like I really enjoyed that. So now I will do, like, video and pictures, but I post them after.
Okay.
Because I'm like, I just want to be in the moment. And I'm like, I'm sure the business is probably like, why didn't she post? I'm going to post it when I get home.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I have to be in the moment because I'm like, I want to have that connection with people and with what's going on. Because I see so many people so busy on their phone. When they leave, I'm like, I don't even remember meeting that person because they're just not into it.
Because you probably didn't meet them.
Right. They were so in their phone, I didn't even meet you. But okay.
And then I think sometimes, do you see that people just go to things just to have content or just to say, I was there?
Literally, yeah. Because you'll go to events and I'll see people later, like through the hashtags or whatever, and I'm like, I don't even remember this person. And they didn't talk to anybody. They just literally were there, boop, bye. So, yeah.
But I don't think that that's the whole purpose of it, right?
It's not.
Isn't it to really actually engage with other people and to really try to see like how you could probably build together?
That's what it's supposed to be. But I think a lot of people don't get that early on. They think, oh, it is all about being there, or it is all about the pretty pictures or whatever. It's really about connection. Because I think people don't realize I probably do a lot more than I tell people I do.
I believe it. I believe that.
And it's not to be secretive, but it's more so because I've made a lot of connections that have allowed me to, be in those spots to do more things. And so, people just don't realize. They think, oh, well, all I'm seeing is this. No, when you make the proper connections, more doors are going to open for you.
They don't see it.
They don't see it. But it's important, like, talk to people. Because you meet a lot of people. Even when I went to New York Fashion Week, people were like, a lot of the bloggers didn't talk to me, or they weren't open, or they weren't this or weren't that.
Yes.
And I'm like...
And I was going to ask you that because I think that you're one of those open, nice... You know how... And I have had this experience happen to me before. The person looks like they are so nice online. And then you meet them in real life, and it's like the stanky leg. And it's like...
Right. Are you the same person?
Yeah. You know? But then or you get the people where... It seems like they might be a little bit nice to people that they know. Like, then they're overwhelmingly nice, or people they want to get to know. But it's just like, what about the other people who you don't necessarily know? Like, you don't know that person could be the next connect. And I've had people that I've wanted to speak at things before, and or that I wanted to connect to something, and their attitude was nasty, and I was just like, no, we don't need you.
And I see that, and I hear it so much. I actually hear about it, and that's the thing. People don't realize people talk
all the time.
When you have a nasty attitude, you think, oh, it's just with this one person. Oh, they're just a follower. It doesn't matter, or they're not important. Girl, you don't know who those people know.
Exactly.
And plus, everybody deserves your niceness, because everybody plays a role. If you weren't my follower, why would these brands be paying me to,
they like, oh, I got a whole bunch of followers. I don't need you, little person.
Right.
And they don't know who little person is.
Right. And everybody is significant. Everybody plays a role. When you like my post, brands see that and love that. And not only that, it makes me feel good because I feel like you're supporting me. And if I can support you, I'll support you as much as I can. So it's like, but yeah, I see that all the time. You go to events and I hear other people, oh, these people didn't speak to me, or they weren't nice like I thought they were. And I'm like, why are people like that? That's crazy.
Yeah.
But, when you're open and you're friendly, that opens more doors than people would even think.
All the way up.
And a lot of times, too, I'll go ahead and put this out there. A lot of times, it's not all about your followers. Because like I say, I do a lot more than I tell. I do a lot more than I tell people that I do. And I don't have to have 20, 25, 30, 40,000 followers. Like, I'm still doing things. I may not tell you, but it's still happening. Money is still being made. It ain't all about that.
I need an effect. I need a cha-ching or something. I'm telling you, I'm gonna do that. That's my thing. I'm gonna get a whole sound machine in here. That's gonna be my next little purchase, is a sound machine. Okay, so I want to transition because locally here, you have the meetup, and with the meetup, if people are bloggers or interested in becoming bloggers, then I want you to be able to tell people about that, because I know you plan on doing some more events going into 2020. So just let people know about that, and then how it's helpful to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I started the Triad Women Bloggers Network probably 2 to 3 years ago, and it is for women in the Triad, so Burlington, Greensboro, High Point, Winston-Salem. You can join our group whether you're a blogger, a vlogger, or an influencer, and really the group is really for you to be able to share your content, share events that you have going on. Like, for instance, LaShawn just launched her book, and we shared that in the group, so congratulations to her. But it's a great place to just kind of connect with other people in the area. But also, I do share a lot of articles on our Twitter account, which
she does.
On Instagram and Twitter, our handle is TriadWBN. But I just like the group because it's great for all of us to connect. And I am planning on having more meetups in 2020. And a lot of times what I try to do is go to new businesses in the area, or have like a workshop where we can kind of get together and learn some more information.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about our next meetup being an actual workshop where we can meet a lot of bloggers in this area who are really doing big things, because I know a few that have 70 or 80,000 followers, and I'm like,
can I get some more followers? As a matter of fact, everybody just go on the Instagram and go to Chisa Pennix-Brown, because y'all know the story. Instagram took my lady business one. Oh Lord. Oh, no. And so we almost to like 1,200. It's so sad. I know.
Okay.
I was getting closer to my 10,000, but
Okay. Man,
it's sad.
Okay.
It's okay though. But you know what I said? I took that as a sign from God that this was just a time to rebuild and just really focus on this Cheese of Pennix-Brown brand. And part of that was really being able to let other people know who else was great. So I'm still sad though. I'm gonna try to get over this by 2020, everybody. But yes, so I think that with that, one of the other things that you do is encourage other people to share content as well. So could you speak a little bit, because there are people that are like, well, look, I want to get some more followers, or I want to get some more engagement, and you have the pod. So can you just tell them about what a pod is, and then if they're interested in like starting their own pod on Instagram?
Yeah, absolutely. So comment pods are really popular on Instagram. Now, I will admit some brands are not necessarily a fan of it, but I feel like it's a great way to gain engagement. But a comment pod is basically where you have a group of maybe influencers all in a group on Instagram together, and whenever someone drops a new image, they can drop their image in the group and we like and comment on it. I created one for the Triad Women Bloggers Network because I felt like it would be good to see what everybody was doing and be able to support it.
Yeah.
Especially with Instagram the way it is now, I don't see everybody's content.
No.
So I'm like, I need to be able to see it. So, if you have like a group of friends or maybe like-minded, like influencers that it's a great way that you can not only see everybody's content in one space, but be able to support them and not overlook it.
And let me tell you something. She be like, you didn't like such and such. She do not play. That's one thing I told her. I was like, I didn't have time to comment. She was like, don't post no more pictures unless you go back and follow the group. But I love that though, because it gives everybody accountability. Right. And so she was just like, stay within the constraints of what we're supposed to do, so that this way everybody gets seen. And I think that to me, that's one of the things that just help make everybody better. So for me, I love it. Just to be honest with you, because she checked me. She was like, first of all,
stop.
Don't be posting another picture up in here until you do.
Oh my gosh.
But it was a good thing. And I was like, girl, hold on. Let me go back and like and comment, because it does make you accountable. And I think it's one of those things where somebody probably needs to do that, because if you didn't do that, you might not post as much, or you might not get as much likes and engagement. And I think it makes me pay attention. And one thing I love is everybody is different, but they post places that I would like to go. They post different restaurants or events and stuff that are happening. And it's like, wow, you know what I'm saying? So then you find out about other stuff specifically because you're following those people, but paying attention to the content that they're putting out.
Exactly, yeah. And I was going to say that too. Everybody's different in the group, because we have one lady who's a gardener, and I'm like, yes, that's awesome. And she shows that she cooks the things that grow in her garden. So I'm like, that's dope. Yeah.
But it does also force you to say something about somebody else's content.
Right.
And I write like I talk. So I'll be like, girl, that outfit, that hat, 100%. I mean, but that's me.
Yeah.
And then if I feel like I need to put a little bit more effort in, then I do. But I mean, I just see something, and the first thing that comes to my mind is usually what I post in relation to. It makes me feel a certain way, right? Like each picture evokes a certain type of emotion.
Exactly, yeah.
All right, so with this, I want to know one thing, and that one thing is, what is your top goal for what you want to do in 2020? If it's a magazine, if it's working for just you full time, if it is more client, what is the big goal that you have for 2020?
Well, to be honest with you, I have to think about it some more, because I'm going to drop another.
Okay.
One of my goals was I wanted to be on television. And so today actually premieres the first episode of a television documentary series that I was in.
Okay.
It was filmed here in North Carolina, but it's being shown in Denmark.
You better be international. Hashtag international on y'all hoes. Okay.
So that was one of my personal goals. And I'll share more.
What's the name of it? You can't just say that and don't tell us the name of it.
Well, it's actually called Ida's Fat Camp.
Okay.
And what it is, which I'll share more on my Instagram and my Facebook as it goes out.
Okay.
But it was 5 ladies from Denmark and 5 American girls that came together, and we talked about just kind of like the role of how we feel with ourselves, body positivity, stuff like that. And I can't go too into detail, but it was okay to say that it came out today.
Okay. But we need to be looking out for
that.
But
be looking out for it. But that was my main goal for this year.
Okay.
So honestly, in 2020, I do think I would like to do more television, maybe like commercials and things like that for different brands.
Okay. Well, I'm going to speak it into existence.
Yeah.
It's coming. It's coming.
Thank you.
That's why I was like, I need you to say it.
Yes.
So that this way, somebody will hear
out
it.
there.
It'll be in the universe. yours, and then we can bring that energy in, because I would love to see that as well. I told you, I was just like, honey, I just want to see you just on somebody's campaign, just spread out somewhere.
Somewhere, yeah.
So I don't know if it's on a subway thing. I just want to see it somewhere, because I love to see stuff like that on a billboard, just somewhere, right? Okay, so tell people where they can find you.
So you can find me literally everywhere at I Am Fab Ellis. And if you're wondering, how do I do the Ellis? Don't even worry about it. Just put in I Am Fab and Ashley Carter's going to pop up.
First of all, you better have that SEO. She said, let me tell you something. My SEO is so strong. Just put in I Am Fab. I'm going to pop up on y'all. Okay, well, thank you so much for being on today.
Thank you for having me.
And then we're going to look forward to these pictures that you're going to take from this lovely photo
Absolutely.
shoot.
This is one of the outfits. We're going to get it.
Okay, there you go. All right, so she's giving you all of the fall going into Thanksgiving vibes.
Yes.
And I'm sure you're going to do something amazing for New Year's.
Well, I might. My husband and I always try to do something. So
that's what I'm saying. I'm just waiting. I just need to see it. I just know something is going to happen.
Okay.
All right. So everybody, if you're watching, you're getting ready to see, if you're online live, you're getting ready to see an awesome commercial for some stuff that's coming up. And then if you are listening to us on the podcast, then make sure that you tune in for the next one, and that you always show up and show out and continue to give it to the people.
Hi, I'm Stacey Sims.
And I'm Chef Big Willie.
We're the owners of Wilson's Comfort Catering, LLC, located at Gillespie Grill in Greensboro, North Carolina. We are super excited about Global Entrepreneurship Week. Watch our episode of Access Granted on Monday, November 18th at 12 p.m.
Tune in.
Hi, I'm Kenya Thornton, Executive Director of Community Intervention and Educational Services. We're a community agency that services Winston-Salem and surrounding counties. The agency's focus is to support and empower families and individuals in need of advocacy of quality support services stemming from crisis. Celebrate Global Entrepreneurship Week by watching my episode on Access Granted, Wednesday, November 20th at 12 p.m.
Hi, I'm Latasha Lewis, co-founder with my son Camden of Cam's Coffee Company, the first organization to create gainful employment opportunities specifically for individuals with varying ability levels in the Piedmont Triad area of North Carolina. Celebrate Global Entrepreneurship Week by watching my episode on Access Granted on Tuesday, November 19th at 12 p.m.
All right, so we are back. I am Chisa Pennix-Brown, and I have another guest, all right? But this guest, this that good Baltimore. Y'all don't know nothing about that Baltimore, okay? Listen, now, I met this gentleman because, and it's just like, it's a circle of how things work. It's like, you know, they say on the Lion King, the circle of life.
Yes.
That's what it is. So, 2 years ago, I was doing a 90-day focus, and we were kind of launching the book on the new year, right? And the person that was actually supposed to come, Dana, who Dana will actually be on in December, Dana couldn't make it. So Dana said, Vincent, you should come. And Vincent came and he brought his wife. And they enjoyed themselves.
Yes, great class. If you missed it, you really missed something.
Yes.
Great class.
So it was one of those things where then after that, you know, you stay in touch, but it wasn't like a big like, oh my God, let's see each other every day. But then really this year is when we really started like clicking and doing a lot more together, because you are one of the men that is in the triad that is doing the absolute most.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
But in such a good way, and I love that. So please tell them about yourself, and, you know, just don't give them everything that you do right now, but just tell them a little bit about you.
Well, I am Victor Michael Vincent Jr. I am your reentry expert, and I help men and women who face incarceration turn their lives around. Mm-hmm. And we do this through community building, fellowship, work with a lot of people, a lot of programs, and a lot of people who just need a little bit of help, a little bit of assistance. You may need a mentor. I'm a great mentor. As Chisa said, I'm from Baltimore. I've been part of
Baltimore. Okay, I'm sorry. Go on. Get it.
I've been part of that drug trade. I've been incarcerated. I was addicted to heroin. So if you want to wonder how low and how far and how deep somebody could fall, man, I fell from grace quickly and heavy. I was sitting in the courtroom one time facing more time in prison than life I had on the planet. And when I realized that I had these talents, I had these gifts, I have a love for people, my fellow human beings, I was like, let's create a program to help men and women just like me who want to turn their lives around after incarceration, make that change, that transition.
Now, that's so much,
Yes.
just in one statement, right? And so, the incarceration portion, because you said, I don't know why I always get attracted to drug dealers. I'm gonna say I'm in the nicest way though, right? But I love drug movies. I mean, so anything, I don't know what it is, but it's really, I think it's the business side of things. So I'm not trying to say it in a crazy way, but I just enjoy seeing how people build things. You're talking about the other side of it though, right? And so for some reason, it's always something where it catches a person and then everything was up here and it just goes all the way down, right? So how did you go from, were you dealing anything?
Yes.
To then, because always they say don't get high on your own supply.
Yeah.
How did that transition even happen?
I was one of those rough guys in the game. I was the enforcer. I was the dude that when you ran off with the money, you had to deal with me. And I remind people that I was benching 600 in the gym, squatting 900. So I could apply a lot of pressure to people when you come up short and when you don't have that money. I was fast. My sister went to track on a full scholarship. So a lot of the guys in the neighborhood was like, yo, he fast. He can hurt you. I want you on my team. I want you on my squad. So they pulled me in. And one thing when you say about how people love that culture, you got to remember the drug trade is like Bonnie and Clyde. It's like Scarface. You're watching people who don't conform to the system become successful without using the system, fighting against the system, because we know how ugly the system could be. You know how ugly government could be. So we look at them as kind of like martyrs. Like these dudes are defying the law, they're defying the government, and they'll be successful while doing it. But what we fail to see sometimes is the end result, because you can only run but so long before it all comes crashing down. And I'm the person that after it comes crashing down, I can help you build it up, because a lot of us have talents that we don't know. We live in a society that mask our talents. People tell us what they think we should be doing.
All the time.
So a lot of times we don't get to live up to our full potential, especially in the African American community. We've forgotten how to appreciate what we have, to take what we have and make the most of it. We tend to idolize things that aren't necessarily for us or aren't even good for us, but we idolize it because the quote-unquote haves have it and we want it. So I'm the guy that works with people that say, hey, man, you have a talent. If you could run a drug trade, you can run a Fortune 500 company. If you can go out on the block and set up on a block, you're into marketing, advertising, distribution. So you're a businessman. You're just doing it illegally. Now let's make a legal salary and a legal life off of doing what you were doing illegally.
But see, that's exactly what I'm saying. To me, I get enveloped in the building the business part of it. And I think that maybe people aren't looking at that. The skill set that you would use to be successful in that trade is really the same skill set that you could use to be successful in just a legitimate business, right? And so now your enforcement is telling people that they can do better. It's telling people that they should do better. It's giving them the tools to enable them to actually make those changes, right? So you're still an enforcer, but you're just enforcing positivity now. So what made you decide, look, I'm not doing this anymore, and I would like to help people that are like me? What was that transition?
What was like, God spoke to me personally and was like, I gave you all these tools and talents, and you're going to waste the rest of your life in prison, or eventually one of these dudes going to run up and take your life from you. What could you do? And it took somebody, for me to reach out to somebody and somebody to invest in me, because one of the things that we do in the reentry field, you do yourself with all the stuff that you do, you invest in people. You give people knowledge, information, and guide them to resources that can help them be successful. And I do the same thing. We take what people already have and we light that fire. We get them passionate about, like, man, you can do this if you just apply yourself. And so many times people are beat up, especially the brothers. Brothers get beat up to the point where they just give up and check out. Weed, heroin, cocaine is a checkout mechanism. Pills. So they kind of check out because they can't deal with the stresses of getting beat up. I'm the person standing on the sideline like the coach, like, boy, get up, come on. All right, yeah, you got beat up. Now come on, let's get up and let's get in the game and let's do this and do that. Most of my mentees are really successful now. And you brought up Dana Daughtry 180. And for those who don't know, Dana has a project helping the homeless. Dana was one of my mentees and didn't even know it. I've always given him advice the same way I would give advice to somebody I'm working with in the program. And I watched him go on and create his own business, his own brand, and now he's helping the homeless right here in Greensboro and High Point.
Definitely.
So he had all these skills, It was just like, okay, let's tap into them. Let's see what we can do with them. As long as we help and support one another, we can see people grow. And it's no greater feeling than seeing somebody that you worked with 5-6 years ago out in an event with their wife and their kids, and you be like, yo, I was in that man's corner when he came home. I was a part of that development that everybody's enjoying the benefits of right now.
But you know what? One thing that you said that I think is important, that with the work that you do, this is not a quick turnaround, right?
No.
So this is an investment of time. It may take a year, 2 years, 5 years for you to actually see somebody start to really make these transitions. But I think that there is some point in time where you can see that this person is receptive, because I think that the biggest thing, even when it's in business and I'm talking to people, I can usually tell who's actually going to listen and do what I told them to do while I'm in class. And I'm just trying to, if you just do what I said, you could be successful, right? But you don't want to do this. You don't want to file a paperwork. It's too much, or the person is like, oh, I want to start such and such. And it's like, but you're not even doing the little bit with what God gave you right now. So how do you expect that you want to get to this? And I know I have one person in particular who always wants to be a millionaire, but don't want to do the 2 cent worth of work that it takes to get to the next step. So where is that, like, do you get excited when you can see that somebody's actually being receptive, that you could feel like that you got through to them a little bit? Because to me, after that, then you'll start seeing their behavior change a little bit.
Yes, and earlier I said people like me, and a lot of people don't understand what that means. I always had a drive. Always had this drive, no matter what I'm doing. Whether my father set me out to rake the leaves, because that's what they taught me, go out and get it. So I look for people who have that drive, and I work heavily to develop that drive, because it's there, but it might be dormant. And I'm the person that gets behind you and almost can say, give you your wings to really get up and fly. You have the ability, you just have been taught that you don't have it. You're not good enough. And one of the things I notice is, I help a lot of guys get their CDL. Well, there's a website that you can go to and put it on your phone and take the practice exam. And when most guys come to me, they would be like, Mr. Vic, I'm really not that smart. And I smile. And it hits me deep, because I was like, yo, this joke going to realize he's going to pass this test. Because it's almost no different than getting your driver's license.
Yeah.
But we have been taught, once again, that we don't possess those skills, and we do. People, family members, societies beat us up so much that we live in this place where we feel like we aren't good enough, we aren't smart enough. And I'm saying this from personally knowing it. I was a seventh grade dropout, basically almost no education. But I was always able to make these smart moves and manipulate people in that drug trade. And I'm like, wow, and people always like, yo, you real smart. I was always the dude that would give a speech before we go out and put in work. And I would say to my crew, like, look, man, I'm going to do this. And if they catch us doing this, we're going to prison for life, but I'm going to take care of this. Now, if you're not built for that, and you think you're going to get in that courtroom and you're going to tell, walk away right now. But if you're ready to put in this work, come on, let's go. And the dudes that I wrote with loved that so much, because a lot of times people didn't give them opportunities. But even when I was in that culture, I had a real love for my friends in my community, because that's what brought me into it, that love. So now we take that love and we put it into reentry. And it was amazing, the relationship we had. You taught me some things, and you told me some things that I needed to work on. You told my wife some things that we needed to work on.
I'm trying to tell these
and I'm
people,
like,
listen.
She hard.
But no, but you know what? Because I even myself have to go back and like read my own stuff, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? And I know my husband, sometimes I get on his nerves because I'm like, I say you got to give up something to get something, right? But it's like I find myself quoting myself, because it's like that's the only way that I feel like I can honestly live my life. And I feel like you have these seasons, right? And this is just how I look at it. So that's why the 90-day focus, I wanted it to be something that could transition no matter what point of life that you were in. Because for me, it's like you will always have something new to start, right? And if you're going to start something new, something else is going out, right? And if you don't need this now, but you needed it at one point in time, then it's a new need that keeps coming up. And so you constantly have to evolve. And so for me, it works literally like that. Like every 90 days, something different happens and something changes where I need to reevaluate where I'm at. And then if you look at it annually, where you were at last year is not where you at now, right?
Yes.
And so even if I look at where you started at, right, I'm going to give y'all something. This is the simplest thing, I promise you, but it just did my heart so good, okay? So I told him already. He don't even know what I'm about to say, though. So it was a simple thing when you first started and you said what you want to do, and I was like, wow, I think it's a lot of work because it is a lot of effort and energy that has to be put in before, again, you see the results of what you do with working with people. But when I saw that you went ahead and you got that pop-up banner, I know that was the simplest thing, but he posted, and it was in the living room, and it had his reentry thing, and then you had the logo and stuff done. I was just so happy and so proud because I think that it's little things like that where it's an investment, but in order for you to get the banner, you had to have the foresight of actually having an organization. And once you had the foresight of the organization, then what do I want it to look like where it represents me and other people? And then what do I want it to say? And how do I want it to be? And how do I want people to perceive me? Because that is then where you start to get into those rooms, right? And it was like, that was the simplest thing, but honey, you put that pop-up banner in that living room and you posted that thing. And I was like, yay! But it's like, I like to celebrate the small wins because that may be something super simple to somebody, but I was just so proud. And I know I'm so silly, but I was just like, you know what? Little things like that, because it took you going from one place and having an idea to letting people see it. And then now, you can then share that with other people. So when you talk about just being able to let people understand what you do you find that you get a lot of help? Because I think that you have the type of business where you do need help from government agencies, from city and county and stuff like that. Are you getting the help that you need so you can help other people?
Yes, and it's been remarkable, and the relationships that I'm building are remarkable. First of all, I couldn't be where I'm at now if it wasn't for my wife.
Okay.
My wife gives me so much assistance, so much help, and she heard my dreams. She understood what I wanted to do, and was like, "I'm here to help you. What do you want to do?" And sometimes I'm one of the people that kind of fly by mind. My mind just goes in all these different directions, so I'll just be throwing stuff all over the place.
So you're an entrepreneur then?
Yes.
That's what you just said.
And she'll be like, "Babe, narrow it down. Let's go here. Let's do this. Let's do that. We can work on this and that." And because of that, we've become this team. And we've met up with other people like you and your husband, and it's these teams. Then we met up with different organizations. I was brought into a radio station to host a radio show because of my community involvement. We're always out there in the community. We're always shaking hands, talking to people, asking people what they need. Because in order to be successful in this business, you have to realize that it's a constant change. What people needed today, they may not need tomorrow.
Exactly.
So you're out here talking to guys coming home or family members of people locked up, and they're expressing to me what they need. So we developed a program based upon filling those needs, filling those voids. One of the things that we're strong about is registering people to vote.
Okay.
Our words our vote means so much. And it's funny because sometimes we lose sight of that. But if you look at all the things going around in the world
Especially
now.
locally.
Yes, if you look at everything, you have rich folk going to prison for cheating, getting their kids in college. But we have people sometimes saying college is not important, but they cheating for it. You have the administration of our government, people are going to jail for messing with votes, rigging elections. We had gerrymandering right here in North Carolina. So it's that important. If rich people willing to go to prison to cheat, that means it really means something. And the only way that we can combat all of this is by working together as a community. And I like to think of all the different programs that I work with, all the different people I work with, that we're building, and that's a couple of things that I'm ready to roll out in hashtags. Hashtag World Changer, hashtag We're Building, because that's what we're doing. We're all working together. Even though we're all in our separate field, one of us blesses another one with that information. You blessed us with something. I'm not going to say what you did, but it's something that you told us that gave us the source to actually get the banner. It was something you gave us at one of your classes right down at the library. You was like, look, I'm going to help y'all do this. You whispered in our ear, and we took what you did, and it helped us got the banner.
You can't be whispering in everybody's ear. I'm saying you can't be whispering to everybody. But you know what? I think that when I see that people are trying to do something, I mean, it could be something simple, like I said, that can help somebody. And the knowledge is what's power. So what I need you to tell people is, I'm just going to give you a scenario. So I just got out of jail, and now I got a record, and maybe just got out. Could have been a year. It could have been recent. It could have been this year. It could have been last year. And I want to do something. And I know that you work with some of the programs that can then help people if they, are felons, or, can you say what that person can get when they come and they talk to you if they want to transition out of the situation that they're in? Because maybe they have a job, maybe they don't have a job, maybe they have a job but it's not paying enough. But what are some of the resources that you say they need to probably come to be able to better their situation?
Okay, number one, part of my program is asking you 3 questions. What do you love to do? If you could have any job on a planet, what would it be? Give me a list of 3, put them in order to which ones you love the most. And the third question is, how hard are you willing to work to get to where you want to be? And what I do is I divide and create a curriculum to figure out how to get you to where you want to go. And the hardest part about dealing with people who have been incarcerated is we lose sight on our dreams. We really don't know what we want to do. And most people come to me and say, I just want a job. That bothers me, because nobody should just want a job. You should be out here pursuing your career. You should be using your talents no matter what they are. Once I sit down and talk with you one-on-one and figure out what you're good at, what you love to do, then I start to develop a career path to go that way. Now, you might necessarily not have what it takes to get you there right now, so you might have to take something in the meantime. Like you might have to take that landscaping job. You might have to take that warehouse job. But you're going to take it, and then we're going to set some dollars aside every week or every pay period for you to get to where you need to be. Secondly, you might work during the day, but you got to be in some kind of class or workshop in the evening.
Come on.
There's no such thing as you just going to go to work and go home and lay down. That's not going to happen. That's not successful. You have to figure out what you need to know, the information you need to have to be successful in that career you want. If it's computers, you have to go to classes to learn how to do computer work. If it's music, then you have to go out and take some musical training. If it's studio, dudes come home sometimes and want to be rappers. I have no problem with that. I can get you on the path to that. Because what we have to do is we got to set some money aside so you can get some studio time. You got to set some time up to do some writing. You might have to take a poetry class to sharpen your skills. There are several things that you have to do, but it all revolves around being willing to work to get to that point. I have the connections. I know the people. So if I send you to somebody, I might send you to 3 people. And if you don't show up, it tells me right then and there, like, yo, you're really not serious.
You're not ready. And I think that once you start to see that a person is really putting in the work, it does, because it does for me, make you want to put a little bit more effort into that person, because you can clearly see that they actually care about their situation. Now, please, because I already know it is somebody that does something called make an excuse. What do you do? What is your response to people who want to? It's always, and I don't like to say it's a reason, because it's always a reason why something. And the reason is you just didn't want to do it. You know what I mean? But sometimes people will find every excuse as to why they couldn't do something, why they couldn't get somewhere. So let's just say it's like, I don't have a car. Okay, well, you can take the bus. All right, well, you could get an Uber. Well, then you can, and it amazes me how people can do the stuff that they want to do all the time. They can get there, right? They can buy that thing. They can go to that concert.
They can hit that club.
There you go, right? They can do that. But what do you say to people that make a whole bunch of excuses? Because that bothers my nerves more than, lying is the first one, but excuses get on my nerves so bad. So what do you say to people that make a lot of excuses?
I usually cut them off.
You don't say nothing.
I usually just cut them off. And the reason why, because there's somebody that needs my time, my attention, and my resources. One of the things that I tell some of my clients is, because as men, we tend to get into beefs at work, in relationships, and I'm like, everything should be seasoning. Your plan should already be together, and that seasoning just is to make it taste a little better. So if it's disrupting everything that you're doing, if it's making you feel like you can't be successful, productive, you got to walk away from it. Far too often we stay in bad situations. I got a speech I'm working on right now because I'm also a public speaker. And the speech is based on why you're trying to put your size 12 foot in a size 6 shoe. Why you trying to put on a size 3 dress when you a size 18?
Come on.
It's going to be uncomfortable.
No, it's not going to work.
You're too...
Not no 3 and no 18.
Sometimes as human beings, we're too big for the situation we're trying to fit into.
Oh, my God. I gotta have sound effects, and I need to bring my tambourine in. Hold up. You just hit a whole nerve. Somebody just said that. I have a mentor, right? And I have multiple mentors. But my mentor just said to me, this was on Tuesday, and she said that you're too big for them. Whatever that situation is. And the thing is, I think that sometimes we want to be loyal. We want to see some stuff through. We want to prove things to other people. And it's just like sometimes you just need to go do you and leave that situation alone. So come on with this speech. I'm ready for this speech.
Because God will give you your desires. And he also created a plan for you that most people can't see. When you look at people like back in the day, like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, and you look at their transition, nobody pictured that from the beginning. And they were the only ones that saw what they were seeing because it was a thing between them and the Lord. And a lot of times in our lives, we have obstacles in our way that's not an obstacle. God done showed you the way around it. You know the way around it. But you get stuck trying to do what your man do, what your homegirl do, trying to do it how they do it. One of the things I tell my wife all the time about this reentry project is, like, we're going to constantly stay and think outside of the box. We have to work on changing legislation.
Yes.
And in order to change legislation, we need people. In order to get people, the people that have been incarcerated have to put on that harness or that armor and get into the fight. Just because you came home doesn't mean that you can't run for office. It don't mean that you can't support local government. It can't mean you can't pick up a candidate and say, you know what, this person has my best interests at heart. I'm going to vote for them. I'm going to campaign for them. As y'all know, we register people to vote. I'm working on this new thing about helping people who are facing incarceration get passports because I believe sometimes you need to get out this country. You're stuck in a rut in your same neighborhood and you've been there most of your life. I'm a hood rat. Love the hood. Love Baltimore. Always ready to go back. But I had to get outside Baltimore and see different places of the world to realize that sometimes poverty isn't necessarily dependent upon color. You go to some places like in West Virginia and everybody white, and there's a real impoverished part of town, and then there's this real rich part of town, and they hold them back the same way some of us are held back in some of the inner cities.
Yeah, and it's a money thing. So let me say something that this is just more of a point of information in regards to what you said about the passports. I need people to realize this is the last year going into 2020 that you need to take into consideration. Now, definitely get your passport because the passport supersedes everything if you're talking about travel. But in North Carolina, this is the last year. You need to go ahead and get your real ID if you don't have a passport. Now, the reason is because you will not be able to fly domestically. So think about that. You won't be able to get on a plane to go to New York. You won't be able to get on a plane to go to Baltimore. You won't be able to get on a plane to go to Atlanta. You won't be able to go in military bases, and there will be certain city government offices and things that you won't be able to get into, right? So when you talk about that, the real ID is only probably like $13 or $14, but you have to bring the documentation so that this way you can get the real ID. Now, outside of that, if you just said, you know, let me get my passport, again, it supersedes all of that. So the passport is bigger than the real ID. But what if there is this great operation that's going to happen somewhere and you want to go and you want to be a part of it? It's this great event or something, and then now you can't go. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can't drive to Africa, honey. You can't drive to Europe. So you just being able to have that is, in my mind, look at it like this. It might not be something you're even thinking about right now, but the ability to be able to do it is the thing, right? So when you have your passport and somebody says, well, look, I want to give you a free trip somewhere, right? I'm going to speak that into existence for somebody. I want to do such and such. Can you come speak here? Can you do this, right? And you're like, oh, that'd be great. But you don't have a passport. And then it blocks you from being able to do those things. So I'm just saying, if you're in North Carolina, even if, and anywhere else if you're watching this, but I just know specifically the rules for North Carolina. If you say, at some point in time, I want to go somewhere and I want to do something. Get the passport. It does cost more to get the passport, but at least this way you will be able to do
go
it.
anywhere you
And
wanna
that's
go.
really what I try to teach people is, look, you might not be ready for a contract right now, but you need to get contract ready. You might not be ready for the financing right now because maybe you don't even need a loan right now. But once you need it, you need to be able to be in a place where you can actually accept it. So it's the same thing as, like, let's say you're talking about that job. If you're talking about that job, I'm going to need you to go ahead and update that resume because the next thing is there, right? So I just like to think to kind of make people prepared and ready, and I think that that's one of the things that you're doing is changing their mindset. And one of the things that we did earlier this year, we did, and I think I'm going to do it again next year, but we did a thing called the entrepreneurial mindset, and it was sponsored by NCID, and we had some business owners that came out and some people that were kind of just starting. But one thing that I could say is, I think that regardless of the profession that you're in or regardless of whatever you've done in the past, it is a mindset. So when you said you always had drive, everybody doesn't have drive, and everybody doesn't have an entrepreneurial mindset. So I think that's why you're able to transition from saying, okay, being a dealer, addict, or everything, to turning into what you are now, because you just switched that skill set over, right? But you always had, from what I can tell, an entrepreneurial mindset to do something different and to make more money and to make sure your family was taken care of. It's just now it's way bigger than it used to be.
And I always tell my clients, I believe opportunity comes often,
All the time.
but we're just not prepared to
Not ready.
receive it. So once we start realizing that we take that first step, that first approach to obtaining a passport and ID, taking some classes, especially free classes. I don't understand why in the world somebody wouldn't take a free class if it was going to teach you how to do something. I've taken many of your classes, and I've taken classes with a lot of people all throughout North Carolina for little things that I thought I may wanted to do. And I might have gotten a class and realized, well, you know what, this is not exactly for me, but it's good for the information. And the crazy thing about that is that later on, I needed that.
There you go.
I really needed it.
Didn't even realize
Yeah,
it.
and it was a part of my success because once again, the opportunity permits itself, and I'm like, okay, I can do this, you know. And far too often we don't take advantage of that, especially people who have been incarcerated. We come home and we want to hide out. We want to stay in the basement because we feel like we don't want anybody to know. I'm one of the people that put it out there. I tell every ugly, dirty thing about myself because once I put it out there, you can't hold it against me. Every once in a while, somebody might go to somebody and be like, yo, you know Vic used to be an addict. And people are like, yeah, I know. And then that kills the whole conversation. So I'm asking anybody that needs a family member, that needs some help, let's get them the help that they need. All these resources are all about town, especially in Greensboro, but we have to be willing to come out and get uncomfortable. Come out on a weeknight and sit in the class at 6:30, 7:30 in the evening. Go back to school to get that trade or that class that you may need to be successful in the future. And we also have to work together. One of the things that bother me right now is that it seems like it's hard for African-American males to work together. We've always been pitted against one another. So when it's time for us to do something, them egos tend to get in the way. And I'm going to work this year on killing them egos and bringing some brothers in and really working together to support and uplift our communities.
And I think that's important, especially if you could do this cross-generational thing. And I'm just going to throw that out there as to what I would like to see. Because, you know, I focus with women. So we got a different focus. Not to say there's anything wrong with the gentlemen. We love the gentlemen's, okay? But my focus is on women, right? So when you talk about that, I think that what is needed and is important is for it to be cross-generational. So that this way we have somebody that's in their 60s, 70s, somebody that's in their 40s, 50s, them 20, 30s, but then even younger than that, right? Because the thing is, respect is one thing that I think is that should be above everything, but I think sometimes people don't have as much respect for younger or older, right? So, and I think it goes both ways when you're talking about that. But I think that if you could bring something together like that where people can see, and I mean, just it could be all different income levels too, because income will separate people. So you can have kids that's the same age, but these kids got a bunch of money, those kids don't, and then it's still a barrier, even though, same exact age, right? So I think if there could be something, especially with black men, that does cross those lines of age, and then, all the other factors come in. But I think age is really one of the things that starts off, because then you have the older ones that are just like, oh, those millennials, they don't know nothing, And I mean, we were having that conversation when we did this first one, and I said to people, I was like, the things that you miss. So when I was just saying, like, actually hanging up on somebody and giving a dial tone, right? Like, you didn't have that. TV being able to go off. And then we were just talking about, I don't know if anybody has Disney Plus, right? But Disney is not playing with these people out here. Disney has the thing where you got Disney Plus, so you get all the Disney stuff. You could get, is it Netflix? Oh, it's Hulu, and it's ESPN. All of that for $12.99 a month. Okay? So Disney said, look, oh, for real, this what y'all want? Okay, so we going to get the kids, we going to get the wives, and we going to get the husbands. So, you know what I'm saying? And the reason I'm giving that as an example is because it's a simple, but it's a conglomerate of putting everything and everybody together. Disney in one day got 10 million subscribers in one day. 10 million in one day. But there was already a Netflix, there was already a Hulu, there was already, all of those individual things. But Disney said, oh, you got that? And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to hook everything up and put it together. And I think that sometimes, we do segment out things and we do just focus on one population, but it's still the same population. We just may need to pull those ages together.
And I say it all the time, when you have an event and the people that you function with have an event. I'm at most of y'all events, and it shocks me that it might be 2 or 3 men there, but it's all women. Different colors, different ages.
Bringing out the women now. Come on, ladies.
And I'm like, why we can't do this? Where the men at?
I think you could, though.
Yeah,
I think you would be one of those people that could bring the men out. You know what I'm saying? But why do you think that is, though?
I think because men have been taught that we got to run everything. We got to control everything. We got to be in charge of everything. We got to do everything. And we're not open to embrace each other. I think women are more in tune to their feelings and their emotions, and they can get past it. Men have been taught to grill on each other. And one of the things that I started on Facebook with the radio show was we're going to say good morning to each other. It was shocking. We were up in Jamaica, Queens, not too long ago. And you got to remember, I've been down here for 15 years now. So when I come off the elevator in Jamaica, Queens, I'm saying good morning to people. I'm like, hey, how you doing? And I said that to some brothers, and they just mugged me.
Like, why are you talking to me in the first place?
And I immediately went back to Baltimore like, what? And that thought process hit me, and I'm like, yo, you're not in North Carolina. You're like, yo, dudes up here ain't doing that. So it's like, yo, why can't men get to the point where we greet each other in the morning? And I think starting the greeting will allow us to open up to be receptive of helping one another. You may have something that another brother needs or could use, and it would benefit you, so why not help each other? I don't think we've been taught that. I think we've been put in this world, even through sports, where most men are early introduced, and you're told, like, yo, go out on the football field and dominate. Go on the basketball court and dominate. Don't care about nobody. Get your buckets, get your points. That's how you can get your money. And we developed that mentality, and we haven't broken ourselves to learn how to reach out and reach down and help our brother up. It's just something that we just haven't worked on.
That's something so simple, like a greeting. Okay, I can say when I go back home to New York, it is different, right? I'm not even going to act like it's not different, But, I mean, you get down here and everybody speaks, and it's just like it's a common thing, and so you don't worry about it. And I'm going to be honest, I get offended when you don't speak. Like, when I go to the grocery store, ring my stuff up and don't say hello. Ring my stuff. Let me come up here and you don't say hello. Like, I'm going to call the manager. 'Cause hello? Like, I'm immediately... So it drives me crazy because I'm like, oh, so you're not gonna speak? Now I can only way I even allow that is like if I'm on the phone and I'm talking, but you still can say hello. Yeah. So I'm telling you, it's one of those things where I think it burns you up when you get used to being in the South. And everybody does that general greeting, but it's something that, is small that we don't think about, but that could be, what if that's the start? What if that's the spark right there? It's just saying hello.
And that's what I started. and I'm hoping it moves forward because it did open up some conversation with some people. And somebody even talked about the ignorance because somehow or another, ignorance has become the norm.
Oh, come on now.
When you look at some of these sites like WorldStar, people are really reaching out for that ignorance.
To be ignorant.
To be
the
ignorant.
whole purpose.
Yes. And we've replaced that with love, with morals, with just being friendly. It's okay to be ignorant right now. Everything that we do. And it's funny about life. I always think about music because I love music. And a record could come on, a song could come on, and you could hate it in the beginning, like, man, I don't like this. But they will play it so much that after a while, you be nodding your head to it, bopping your head to it, and playing it without even thinking about the fact that
and
now
then
you
don't
love
learn
it.
the words.
Yeah.
Don't let it have a little catchy chorus.
So it's kind of like a way of conditioning. I
is.
think we've become conditioned to accepting the nonsense that our grandparents wouldn't accept it back in the day. You know, a lot of things that we do today, you'd have been hit upside your head, sent to your room, punished with. But now we look at it like, well, this is part of our norm. Jokers fighting over a chicken sandwich.
Getting stabbed over a chicken sandwich.
Jokers in Waffle
Fighting
House.
at
tanning.
Disneyland.
Yeah, it's just like we've accepted the ignorant as being like, yo, this is the way it is. And I'm hoping that with the reentry program, we could change that.
Yeah, and then, okay, so now let me just ask you, we went over the time that we originally were going to do it, but I'm like, listen, we having a good conversation. Y'all just get into this, right? But with the reentry program, so I know that there are other things that people can do, like if they say, well, there are programs to help people start businesses, and to me, that's an important thing. And I would like to just ask, like, is there a high percentage of the people that you deal with that do start their business? Because you said, okay, getting a CDL license. So if you got a CDL license, you could go and you could work for somebody, but hopefully you would save that money to be able to buy your own rig so that then this way you could have your own trucking company, even if you just got one truck, right? But do you find a lot of the people that you work with would rather start a business than to try to get a job because they already have a skill set? And I mean, even if it's just starting on the side, how does that usually work as far as motivation wise?
Well, most of the people all the people that I work with are successful right now. Truck drivers, working for the city, running their own businesses. And I think it's all in people watching what I do and coming hanging out with me for a day and seeing what I do. And it's like, I can do that. Or you may say something to me. I've been joking a lot lately, and I say this a lot lately. I can tell somebody exactly what to do to be successful, but it appears it's not working for me. Like, you can sit down and come talk to me, and I'd be like, yo, you need to do this, that, and that. And they'd be like, wow, yo, I never thought about that. And I'm like, yo, how did you just come up with that?
For somebody else. But you know what? I think that, and I'm going to say this because I had to say this, I get people that are mentors for me that treat me the way that I treat other people. And what I realize is, you know what? I'm so hard on people, but I'm hard on people for the right reason, right? So when I talked to my mentor the other day, I'm like, okay, so listen, I just came because I wanted to talk to you about my feelings, right? So she was like, all right, so here's this pen and paper. So this is what we're going to do. This is the plan. Because from the last time that we came, you had a plan. Things didn't go the right way. You know what I'm saying? But that's because, you know, some stuff happened personally, right? And she's like, but the plan is different now. So this is da-da-da. She did me just like I do other people. And it's like, you have to be that way. But you also, and I need to say this because somebody needs to hear this, you have to have a tough skin. Because if you say that you want these things, then they start to come and then they start to manifest. Do you really want them? And that's why I said to give up to get something. Every time I'm like, okay, I want to do such and such. Nope, I think I don't want to do this anymore. Whatever it is, whether I want to or don't want to, then those things start to happen because I said that that's what I wanted to happen. And then it's like, oh, shoot, they're happening faster than I originally anticipated them happening, but get ready. And so for me, if I know, okay, I want to do a certain thing, then that means I need to get ready. So let's just use this show, for example. This show wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for somebody. Let's even go back. Like, it was, I said for years I never wanted to have a nonprofit. because I always wanted to be in charge, and I'm a type A personality, right? And I was like, with a nonprofit, you know, people can vote you out, right? And I always use the example of, remember on Empire, when they voted Lucius Lyon out, right? Because that's the thing that everybody can understand. If you got a board, they can vote you out. So then I had a person that set up the nonprofit, Dr. Catherine J. Ado, right? And she was just like, well, you need to write things into your bylaws so that that's not a problem. Okay. So we write the stuff into the bylaws, so can't nobody get rid of me but me, okay? That was one thing. So then it was like, okay, we'll start it, right? And I'm just like, oh, I don't want to do such and such. And then somebody was like, well, you know, if you start a nonprofit, you can get this and that. Now, I need you to understand, starting a nonprofit, you still have to apply for grants. You still have to go through all kinds of paperwork to do things. So just because you have the nonprofit doesn't mean that all of a sudden people are just going to give you money, right? But then the next thing was, okay, so I like to challenge myself every year for my birthday. And I was like, you know what? Let me talk to my board members, and I would love to get a space. I only wanted to get a small space to do the podcast studio. Enough space for like 4 people to fit into a room. That was my original plan, right? And then I was like, okay, well, let me see what the budget's going to be every month. And I knew I wanted to be in the Nussbaum Center because I was already comfortable. They had the Wi-Fi. You got usage of extra space, all of this, right? So I'm giving you this long story, all right? But I'm going to wrap it up. So then I was like, well, I want to get this small space. And they were like, I'll help you. We can do this together. Instead of you just doing it for the podcast studio, let's do it together and do it for the nonprofit, because our members need XYZ. We all need space. And so let's be together with it. And then I was like, well, I never thought to ask anybody. Not to say that I didn't think people would help. It's just I'm so used to doing things by myself and making sure I can take care of things regardless of anybody else. So then it was like, okay, well, let's do it together. So then we find a space, and it's like, okay, this is going to be great. We get everything together. And then I'm like, okay, well, we got the space. So we have the space, and it's like, well, what else can we do with it, right? And the only reason that this show even started like this was because something else stopped. So when they stopped the 102 Jams thing, where it was Chris and Morgan that I was going on to every month for like the last 3 years, I felt like this was let's fill that void. And I said, well, I like to talk. I like to talk to other people. I talk to people all the time about their businesses and everything. So I'm like, well, why not use this space and do it as a platform to help other people, right? And then what was so crazy, you had the radio show. And I'm like, well, y'all are up doing the radio show on a regular basis. Y'all got regular jobs. Let me just understand that. The city, okay? So you got to be at, what time you got to work?
I got to punch in at 6:30 in the morning.
He got to punch in at 6:30. Your show was already on at like 5 o'clock in the morning or 6?
6 o'clock in the morning.
So he was doing a 6 o'clock in the morning show, going to work at 6:30, had partners that he was working with, and then getting off and still doing other stuff. And I'm looking at this like, I am really impressed with this. Like, come on, black people, let's do something. Come on, people. And then it was just like, okay, if you say you want stuff and you have the ability to do it, and you got space, nobody's using the space on Sundays. Can you get up? If I can get up to be at somebody else's show at 6 o'clock in the morning from 6 to 6:30 once a month, why can't I get up to be at my own show on Sundays? And I was just like, Sunday is the perfect time, 8 to 10, and you're going to get a couple of groups of people in there. You're going to get people that's getting ready to go to church. You're going to get people that's getting off work, people that's getting ready to go to work. And the thing is, even after we're done, guess what? People can still watch this show, right? Because you don't have to watch it live. Maybe you like to sleep in. Maybe you work a shift where it's not feasible for you to do that. But I really felt like this was an opportunity to be able to share what other people do with the world. And so you are inspiration too, because I'm telling you, like, I think sometimes we work so hard to help other people that we don't realize like that we are really awesome. I mean, I do say that a lot though. I do tell people I'm awesome, but no, I mean, like, I don't know if you say that about yourself or if that's something your wife has to say to you, but imagine the amount of work that goes into just being you. I tell people all the time, being awesome is exhausting. Like, I don't think they realize how exhausting it is. Because from the outside, all y'all see is, oh, they everywhere. That's what you see, right? And then that's why I said do too much, because that's what people say. But you know what? The people that say we do too much, you know what they doing? Not a damn enough. Okay, there you go. Not a damn enough, right? And so it's one of those things where it's like, you're awesome. And I think that other people recognize that, which is probably why they gravitate to you. And then it makes them want to do a little bit more, right? So, all right. So what do you want to do? What's your big thing that you want to do? And I know you have more than one. But for 2020, what's one of the big things you want to do?
One of the biggest things I want to do in 2020 is start to bring people together.
Okay.
All the people with their own businesses right here in the Greensboro and the Triad, I want to bring you together. I want to have a reentry conference.
Oh, I'm here for that.
And my whole vision of the reentry conference is to have entrepreneurs there set up around the room with their materials and equipment if anybody want to purchase anything. But the whole concept is to bring anybody and everybody together to realize, like, we have some major issues in this state and they go unaddressed. Or we're in a meeting, because I sit in a lot of meetings with opioid addiction, homelessness, and we talk in these meetings and nobody outside the building really knows what we're doing, or that there's people out here fighting for it. I was asked to go down in Asheboro and speak one time, and I was devastated. 8 women got up in a row and talked about young children, their children ODing. And it was like, wow. And it was funny because me and my mentee, me and my friend Dana Daughtry had to go down, and we had to speak after this. And you sitting at the table like, yo, I don't know how I'm gonna go in here and do this, but we went up there and killed it. We brought some laughter back to the room, telling our personal stories, because our stories is we overcame addiction. We came out of that drug trade, and your kids can too, if we as a community are willing to put in that work. So I just want to hold an event for all of us to get together and brainstorm on some ideas of how we can help motivate, uplift, and build our community.
I love that. Okay, I need to be a part of that, because I think that sometimes we talk too much when it comes to issues. Like, we just talking about it. But it has to be some solutions. And I think that because you are doing the work of the solutions, some of the lawmakers needs to be in the room. Some of the people who are on those city council and county commissioners and state legislatures and stuff like that, they need to be able to hear that. So you being able to have that individual insight and testimony, that makes a whole lot of difference to people, because you're not just talking about it, like, you've lived it, right? And then not only have you lived that, now you have shown your growth after that, and then being able to give back to people. So hopefully somebody will be listening that says, look, I want you to come speak at this. I want to give you money for this program. I'm gonna speak all of that into existence. He need them coin, ching, 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 ching. If it folds and if it direct deposits, we need all of that. Okay, so I'm gonna bring that into your life for 2020, because we need all of that.
And I want to say one more thing. I'm starting to notice something on Facebook and social media. People are saying that when you help people, you're supposed to hide it. Like, it's a Christian thing. You're not supposed to give somebody money and let everybody know that you gave somebody money. I understand that to a certain point. But one thing that we have to be vigilant on, we have to have these podcasts, we have to have these Facebook videos of us going out serving our community. Because there's somebody sitting home who is not thinking that they can do that or they should be doing that. So we're showing people when we out in the community, hosting these events, having these events, that we're giving back to our communities. And we want you to be right beside us giving as well. I would love for Victor and Vincent Jr., the Rich Expert, to be able to back up a little bit and function on something else. However, there's a need for us to show people how you do it and inform people on why you should help you can support your community.
I like that. So it needs to be a program before the program, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? Because some people want to give anonymously, and that's understandable. But maybe you telling somebody that you gave will make somebody else give.
Exactly.
And that's really it. And you're not trying to just showcase people, because one of the things I've seen even with your post before, where you were just like, some people may not want to be on camera, you know what I mean, and that's understandable. So you're not trying to exploit, but you are trying to inform, and then there is a difference between exploitation and information. So definitely being able to do that. So please tell everybody where they can find you online.
You can find me at Victor Michael Vincent Jr., the Reentry Expert, on Facebook, on Instagram. We actually have a website that we're launching right now called Victor Michael Vincent Jr., the Reentry Expert .org.
Okay, I know that website name is not about to be that long.
What is it, babe?
thereentryexpert.org.
Okay, because I'm like, hold up now. Ain't nobody got time to be Vic or Vincent, Michael, James, Michael, praise the Lord. Okay, that was too long. Okay, but thereentryexpert.org. See, I get all this groundbreaking news when people come up here, right?
Yes,
so
yes.
that's going to be launched soon.
Yes.
I'm excited about that.
Yes, we are moving forward. We're looking at doing a lot of events this year and partner with a lot of different people.
Okay, and that's excellent. All right, so go to, and then on Instagram, it's _reentry_expert. So you can just start typing in the reentry expert, and then you'll be able to find it. And then he's on here, and what I would suggest too is if you are watching this and you found value, make sure that you share it once this is over, and then make sure that you follow the movements of the people that are on here, because I don't bring foolishness on here. I try to make sure that we get good people that are doing good things in the community, and we have more that is coming up. So I have a special guest that's getting ready to come on. So if you're watching live, you're getting ready to see our special guest in an interview. And if you are on the podcast, make sure that you always show up and show out and continue to give it to the people. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. When you're tuned in, you're with Lady Business and Give It to the People Radio, where you're going to get enlightened, enhanced, empowered, and enriched. Make sure that you always tune in to Give It to the People Radio. All right, so today I have the pleasure of sitting down with someone who does talk a lot and just told me that they don't talk a lot. But I think they talk a lot in a good way because they're out here getting this money and being about the community, which is the good talk that we're talking about. So I have Talib Graves-Mans here today. Talib, tell them who you are.
My name is Talib and I don't talk a lot. Talib Graves-Mans, I'm an entrepreneur. Born in Philadelphia, but raised in Greensboro, North Carolina, which is where I met Chisa many moons ago with the Black MBA.
Yep.
Still doing it for the culture.
A little bit. Still got it.
Yeah, I'm an entrepreneur. Went to high school in Greensboro, because I have a lot of listeners from Greensboro.
A lot, yes, most of them.
Oh, right on. So Greensboro Page High School. Graduated from there, went on to Hampton University, graduated from there.
HU.
Then came back to Greensboro to work for a little bit. Then I ended up in D.C. for about 4 or 5 years doing fashion merchandising. I worked for Nike, Polo, Nautica, and a few other brands for years as a mall rat, going in and out of the malls, making sure that the department store areas were merchandised properly. So you go into a Hex at the time, Dillard's and Macy's. There's like a polo area.
With a Hex, didn't you?
Hex. I remember they went out of business.
Goodness.
Yeah, you go into the store and have a merchandise that area per the standards for the corporate entity, whatever brand it was. I did that for years, and the economy tanked in 2008.
Yes, it did.
And I said, wow, I know a lot about customers and sales, but I don't know a lot about the business, the backside of it. So I decided to come back here and do my MBA at Wake Forest, which is where I graduated from, focused on marketing, Demon Deacons. And I worked in Winston-Salem for a couple years, which I encourage every entrepreneur to do at some stage in their life, is to go ahead and put the time in and learn on somebody else's dime. And then if there's some interesting things that you learn, then take that and then turn that into an entrepreneurial venture. And at the time I was doing digital analytics for this company named Enmar in Winston-Salem, and they had leadership changes, and I ended up with like the basement office, like from Office Space, from the guy with his stapler. I had something like that, and I said it was time for me to go. It was horrible. I learned a lot while I was there, but then that happened. And I said it was time for me to go out on my own and create my own consulting firm, and I was focused on working with small, medium-sized businesses, focused on like their digital footprint. And fell in love with startups at the same time. Started working, once I quit, started working out of a co-working space called The Forge in Greensboro. I'm not sure if that's still...
I did not know you were working at The Forge. Oh, The Forge is doing some big things now. So they're doing some wonderful things. They just got a big, gigantic grant. They've got, some new CNC routers. So they're doing some big things there for sure.
Wow, that's amazing. So I was like Forge member like number 7.
Really?
Yeah, so The Forge was, not as a brewery over there.
Yeah.
They had that whole area, but in the front was like a hard working space. It was like shop.
Yep.
And in the back, they only had maybe 1,000 square feet with fast Wi-Fi, and I worked back there.
So what were you doing when you were at The Forge? What were you making?
Well, I had my luggage company, Life on Autopilot, was just coming out then, And the goal was to use the hardworking space to make like boxes. We were going to make some other like luggage boxes out there for the brand. And then I used the backspace because of the Wi-Fi. I wanted a place to work, and I had the student rate.
Okay.
They'll probably laugh. Somebody hears this. So I was like, yeah, I don't want to pay. What was it? It probably was like $40 a month. I was like, let me get it for the low. So I was paying like $9 a month. Shout out to the guy who
entrepreneurial though, right?
Of course.
There you go. Get it in. I told you about that money.
Yeah, you got to get that money. Keep it. And that's where it started, which is interesting because I left here in 2015 when I got honored to be an entrepreneur in residence with Google for startups and a nonprofit called Code 2040, and that kind of changed my life and trajectory because I say it like this, like when I was in Greensboro, I'm like, I got all the same talent that I had in Greensboro that I have in Durham, but I was better resourced in Durham because now, I applaud what you do and what Wilson's does and some other people like to build the ecosystem. But because I feel like when I was doing it
wasn't as much of an ecosystem built. So the way that it is now, it's a better ecosystem, you would say, for entrepreneurs here in Greensboro.
Yeah,
but we were behind
the triangle.
What was happening in the triangle?
Yeah, it was totally behind in what. So the funny story was literally I was at working at the Forge in Greensboro, going there every day. It was only like a handful of people worked back there. They had 3D printers, and we would just go back there and work. It was over 24 hours. I go to a bar, have a drink, and I go back there and just do some work. And I was down to my last like $600-700, and my buddy had just went to Silicon Valley, and he met this guy named Christopher Lyons, who worked for Andreessen Horowitz, his large venture capital firm, and I became friends with him. And I said, man, I want to come to the Bay. I need to see something. And he said, well, matter of fact, we're having like this fireside chat out there in the valley. You should come to that. So I spent like my last $350 out of that $600-700 I had, and I flew out there.
Wow.
And while I was out there, I went to that event, stayed at Mont's house. And the next day, I met this guy named Jason Towns, who was running the Code 2040 Google for Entrepreneurs program. So we were talking, having beer, and he said he was looking to hire the person to be the entrepreneur residence in Durham. And I said, I'm in Greensboro. My family's from Durham. Like, put me in the game.
So what are the odds, though?
Yeah, right.
That you would spend almost your last, go all the way over to California, and meet somebody that wanted to hire somebody all the way back in North Carolina.
Yeah.
So that was like kismet happening right there.
Exactly. It was definitely. I owe that guy a lot. I'm sure I paid for it in bar tabs, you know what I'm saying? So we even, Jason. But yeah, I was all the way out there, but it also had to bet on myself because they said, well, this entrepreneur has to be in Durham. They have to be in Durham. I'm like, well, I'm not. My family's from there. I've been putting in work. And I bet if you bet on me, I'll be damned if we don't have the best entrepreneur in residence like community here. And during that program, we had 2 jobs. One was to use the resources from Google and American Underground and Code 2040 to build our startup. And the other one was to be a change agent within your community for Black and Brown access. And they gave us $40,000 stipend for a year and a half to do that, which wasn't a lot of money. I couldn't even afford to live in Durham. So I was driving back and forth from Greensboro to Durham for that first year and a half because Durham is pretty expensive. And that's what birthed, like during that time, birthed Black Wall Street Homecoming and a couple of other projects in that community. But I mean, encouraging words to entrepreneurs, and sometimes even when they say maybe, you gotta be like, man, no, that's mine. That's mine. It's just mine. I'm going to need to collect this bag and pass go.
Now, what would you say? Because that driving back and forth, I do not like that. If you were driving back and forth, and so for people that don't know, the distance between Durham and Greensboro is about an hour. So that's every day. That's a 2-hour commute back and forth. And doing that to be able to build something. And, that's a lot of effort and energy to put in for a year and a half. So I see a lot of people that don't even want to come to free classes. But they always want to start a business. People that consistently will ask for funding but don't want to do all of the work that's necessary. So what advice would you give somebody that continually says they want something but aren't willing to put in all the effort that you did?
I tell that person to get out of line because they're taking somebody else's seat.
Oof.
There but so many resources, there but so many emails that people that want to help other people are going to send. There's only so much money on the street. And if you don't show up if you're not prepared to do it, you're taking somebody else's seat. So get out the way. And working or not, whatever job you have, whatever you're doing to make money, keep doing that until you're really, really ready.
I love it.
Don't lie to yourself. Yeah.
Oh, that's good stuff. That is good stuff, because I think that I've seen it happen. I've even stopped being friends with people who said that they wanted to do things. And I mean, how many more times are we going to listen to what you say as opposed to what you do?
Absolutely. I mean, and it's so interesting. I don't know what other communities are. I know the black community, and the loyalty is an interesting thing within this community about like who and how long we're gonna rock with people and participate and show
Pray
up
about it.
and pray about it. Man, you better get out here and act on it.
Oh, what?
You know, I don't know the biblical quotes, but I'm sure there are ones that's something that says like, if you pray about it without actions, then you.
I don't think that's in the Bible, but faith without works is dead.
There it is. Is that in the Bible or is that Shakespeare?
It's in the Bible.
Yeah, I think Shakespeare wrote that part.
It could be, though.
That sounds great.
It sounds like we made a whole little thing. We made our own verse.
Yeah, we did. You
made our
know, Jay-Z made it a line. I made it a hot song.
Nice.
But yeah, but like it's so important to see things through and to get it done. But it's not meant for everybody to be the boss. I think it's a very important thing that every entrepreneur, every successful entrepreneur has to understand that it's sometimes you have to be the chief, and sometimes you have to like
be the Indian,
be Simba. You know, sometimes.
Hold up, the chief and then be Simba? Okay.
No, sometimes no. Well, Simba was.
I know, but I thought you were gonna do chief and Indians, and then you went to Simba.
No.
Okay.
I went to Simba.
I'm with that though.
Look at you. If y'all can see her face, you laugh. But sometimes you have to be in front of the pack, and sometimes you have to be of the pack to support what's going on within the ecosystem.
Yeah.
You know.
And that makes sense. So I love that. I mean, I think those are some great words to close on. So Talib, where can people find you online?
In these streets. Find me in person, you know what I'm saying?
Well, you were just in Bangladesh, weren't you?
Yeah, that was.
So you were literally in these streets.
I was in the streets of Bangladesh. It was on the opposite side of the world. I mean, I like LinkedIn. Okay. Because LinkedIn is the best place to see people's receipts. Oof. So I'm Talib Graves -Mans on LinkedIn. If you were reaching out because if you heard me on Jesus podcast, please say that and we'll be friends. That's the best place.
Okay, I love it. So thank you so much for jumping on the podcast today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for listening to Give It to the People Radio. Make sure that you follow us online at ladybusiness.com. LADYBIZNESS. We look forward to helping you grow, sustain, and maintain your business. Hey everybody, so I'm Chisa Pennix-Brown, and you are on Give It to the People Live. Now, one thing that I do, and some of you may not know, but some of you are going to get to know, is I do a podcast called Real Ass Affirmations. Now, Real Ass Affirmations is meant for you to listen to and for you to calm your individual self down, because guess what? Sometimes you may not be able to talk to your best friend or your parent or whoever you need to. So I give you these affirmations that help you to get centered. So kind of like mantras, but in addition to that, I also tell you what you need to hear, because sometimes it's the shit you need to say to get you through your day. And that's what Real Ass Affirmations is about. So I'm going to give you kind of a real ass affirmation now, because this is one that I have written, and I wanted to make sure that you guys kind of get a little whiff of it. And then this way you can go online to realasaffirmations.com, but you can also go to my website at ladybusiness.com. You can go on any platform and you'll be able to subscribe to the podcast, and you'll be able to download the episodes, and I would love for you to do that. So I'm going to take this time to give you a real ass affirmation. Now, y'all ready? I don't know who needs to hear this, but you didn't finish because you didn't start. You didn't finish because you didn't start. You thought about it. You meant to do it. You wrote some of it down. You bought a domain. You read about it. You did one video. You recorded some stuff. You took some pics. You bought the class. You attended the workshop. You purchased the book. the course. You watched the live and joined the group. You signed up for the email. You paid the membership fee. You tried the product. You booked the one-on-one, the masterclass, the training session. You swallowed the pill. You drank the smoothie. You started the challenge. You read the chapter. You went to the meeting. You paid the intro fee. You got the free trial. You downloaded the workbook. You got the templates. You sent the email. You invited some people. You texted. And you ate, you were drank, and you were merry. Now, this is the thing. Part of the problem that I think that we have is we always start something a little bit, but we don't really finish whatever that thing is. So when we go back through this, there are so many different aspects of how you possibly started, but you didn't finish. And that's the reason why you're not where you need to be and why you're not successful. And I'm guilty of some of these things too. So I don't want you to think that I'm just like on you. The thing is, it's really, really easy to start. It's really easy to do that first step. But the follow through is where the magic happens. When you get uncomfortable, that's where the magic happens. And the issue is, it seemed like a good idea until you thought about how much time you had to invest. It was a great idea until you saw what the fee was going to be on a monthly basis or what it was going to cost you annually. It was a great idea until you felt like, oh, I got to really do that? I have to exercise. I got to take this drink. I got to go do this every day. I have to invest. And the thing is, no matter what it is that you made the decision that you wanted to do, you didn't finish. So my challenge to you is to go back through. So now let's jump back in here, all right? Because again, you didn't finish because you didn't really start. You gave a little teensy-weensy bit of energy, a little bit of effort, but you didn't really follow through. So when you say you thought about it, did you really think about a whole plan in order to put things into a process that was going to make you finish? Or did you just think, this was just something I was just going to try? And even if you just tried it, at some point you probably got a spark of genius that made you feel like you could do it, but you stopped for some reason. Now, whether you stopped because you just didn't want to do it, or because maybe your friends weren't doing it, or maybe you had to do a little bit more to get to a place, or you actually had to take time out of your schedule to make it happen, whatever it is, that's why you didn't finish. You need to sit down and really take an evaluation of what you want to do in order for you to be able to finish. And the issue is, it's all you. You are responsible. You are the problem, but you are also the solver of that problem. And if you don't want to do whatever that original thing is, that's okay. It's fine. However, you have to take into consideration that if you do want to get to whatever that goal was at the end, that you're going to have to put in work to make that thing happen. So when we say things like you bought the domain, how many of you have purchased a domain this year and have no website up? Is that website going to build itself? No, honey, it's not. So you have that domain, but guess what? You also have a little bit more than a month left in 2020, and you can build a website. I think you can do it. You could pay somebody to do it, but you could sit down over the month of December and get a website up that you can launch in January. But you could also launch it in December. You could launch a one-page website and at least let people know what's going on with you, and then put the full thing out next year if you choose to. So let's just say you said you wanted to do a video series and you only did one video. One video does not a series make, okay? Which means you need to sit down and really think about what you want to do to plan out that whole entire series. So it's just like when we're doing this right here. I knew that we were going to do it every week, but that also means that the plan, in order to put it into place to make sure that people are here that I feel like are great quality for you with things that are happening that you'd want to hear about, that has to happen, right? So you can have this location, but it doesn't mean anything if you don't invite people to actually come on. That's a whole plan. But then you also need to plan out in advance so that this way you have enough time to market and publicize the people that are going to be here. And those people have the time to get their people online. Think about it like this. If you have a goal that's at the end, there are steps that need to be taken to get to it. So when we talk about what you're going to do and what you were thinking about, what we really have to do is know that there is a plan. So I'm going to give you something that you guys can do that to me is an easy thing. All right. What I want you to do is get your pen and paper out, and write down everything that you think you want to do. Everything that you think you want to do. Because at the end of the day, there are some things that you have to do, and then there's some things that you want to do. And regardless, there still needs to be a plan in order to get there. So if you look at it like this and you say, well, you know what I want to do is I want to become a blogger like Fab Ellis, who was on earlier. You need to buy a domain, but you also need to put up a site. You need to know what you want to put on that site. You need to know what the content is that you want to put out, right? But you also need to, like she said, take pictures. So that means you could take this whole entire month and just do nothing but pictures and think about everything from now until, let's just say, my 90-day focus. So let's say, for instance, you're going to launch this thing and it's going to be January. If that's the case, you can take from now until December to just take pictures. But think about everything for the first 90 days from January until March, because you have spring that's coming up. You have all kinds of New Year's that's in there. You have Valentine's Day that's in between there. You have Black History Month. Think about all of the things that are within the course of that time frame, and then go ahead and take those pictures that will correspond to those particular holidays and put that out. If you said you wanted to do a video series, what is this video series about? What are we talking about? Is this going to be something that you're going to monetize? Is this going to be something that you just want to do, and maybe you want to make a series to put it on IGTV? I don't know what you want to do, but maybe you want to launch a YouTube channel. The content, the ideas, everything that you have, write those things down and then make a decision on how you're going to actually disseminate those to people. And this is what I do on a regular basis. So when we're doing this show, every week, our goal is to improve, right? So let me tell you what we did. Week 1, we were sitting over there at our one table with 4 people with one camera, okay? We didn't have a whole bunch of lights or anything, Jesus, okay? And then we said, listen, that's the first one, because it was like, let's get ourselves into it. Then the next one was, okay, well, what we're going to do is we're going to interview people, because that was the original goal in the first place. Then we had still one camera, but we got lights, right? And so then we're sitting here, we're doing our interviews. This week we said, you know what? It'd be awesome to switch between cameras. So we got another camera, we got a backdrop, and then we have 2 cameras going back and forth to give you perspective. But everything is a plan, and everything is also gradual to where you can grow. You do not have to have everything together to start. And I think that that's one of the things that will make us procrastinate more. So you didn't finish because you didn't start. That is really the affirmation. Now, when it looks like this, I could have said, oh, well, we don't have everything that we want for the first one, so let me wait till we get it together. No, the goal was to start and then to continually improve. So I'm just going to speak this in existence, honey. Somebody going to give me a show somewhere, okay? I'm going to be on somebody's channel doing something. But the thing is, I needed to start. And this can be one of those timestamps where you can see that there was a plan in place to get to an end. But you need to make sure that you have that plan. So when we talk about things like this, it's a lot of people that buy those online courses. It's a lot of people that read a whole bunch of books. But are you putting those things into practice to where they can then become beneficial to you? Hopefully, in my view, I always love for people to start businesses. So if you said you want to start a business, it shouldn't be too much that's stopping you. You can come to all of my classes for GTCC are up from now until June, okay? Which means you have plenty of opportunity to come to some of these classes. I have 2 workshops that are webinars that'll be this week, Tuesday and Thursday. I'm going to be doing a summit that is going to be up in Nash, which is Rocky Mount, okay? That's going to be on Saturday, this week on the 23rd. There are plenty of opportunities, but you, like Vincent said, right? You have to be willing to be in place. You have to be willing to take the opportunity and do what's necessary in order to make it happen. And so if that means that there are steps that need to be taken, maybe you just need to come to the free classes first and, then say, I'm going to go and I'm going to do this next thing. So in my opinion, I don't think that there is anybody stopping you but you. Because even if you want to look at it like learning a skill set, maybe you can't come to classes, YouTube is there. Google is there. You can create all kinds of wonderfulness, even if it is just for you for self-care. But you have to be willing to make those decisions. So let's just look at it like this. What do you really want to do? When we say, what do we really want to do, then we have to commit to doing something consistently. And that's really what the whole 90-day focus is about in the first place. Sir, good sir, would you get me a book, please, from over there? The biggest thing is I wrote this book, and I know we talked about it a little bit earlier, but I wrote this book because I wanted to really help other people. And so with the 90 Day Focus, you can go ahead and you can buy it on Amazon.com. So you can just go to Amazon. You can go to the90dayfocus.com and it'll be there also. It's still going to take you to Amazon so that this way you can get it quickly. This is the book. The90dayfocus.com. Inside of this book, to start off each chapter, I put a quote in there for you. So to be honest with you, to me, Real Ass Affirmations kind of started 3 years ago when I wrote this book. So inside of this book, the first quote is, I create my life. And I need you to understand that this is one of the realest statements that could ever be made. You create the life that you want to see. If you are not happy with it, it is your opportunity now to stop trying to wait until next year in order to make this happen. Start right now in creating a life that you want to have. Now, that does not mean you're going to have everything, but it does mean that you can start the process of creating the life that you want. Now, inside of this book, I also have things for budgeting, because we know that money is where you need to get a lot of the things, right? But I also have online tools that you can take as far as learning some more. In addition, I break down each month so that this way you can kind of see. So let's just jump in. Let me go ahead and we have life focus areas so that this way you can see what's important to you. In addition, inside of the book, we also have each month broken down so that this way, if you are in business, you can see what you want to do as far as the marketing is concerned. And so if you're talking about doing your resume, like we talked about earlier, I have power words in here that you can use for your resume, but you can use it for your about section on your website. It's so much stuff that's chalked up into this one book. And then I have my people like me that might get a little ADD at the end. And look, this was 3 years ago. At the back of the book, I have coloring pages, because sometimes you read a little bit and then you just need to have a little break for your mind. But Give It to the People is in the back of this book. This was written 3 years ago, all right? Now, when you start to look at what you want to do, everybody should want to give it to the people, whatever your it is, okay? And that doesn't mean that you have to be extra and flamboyant like me, but it does mean that there is some it that you have that's inside that you want to be able to put out into the universe, because that's going to bring you what you need to have. And so hopefully, if you make the decision, this book is only $19.99. You can go again on Amazon and you can make this purchase of the 90 Day Focus. This can be something that can help be a catalyst into your new year. But do not think that you need to wait until 2020, because guess what? It's just another day. But I also need you to take into consideration, this is the last of this decade, okay? We're going into a whole new decade. And with that, that means that we should be making some more decisions about who we want to be. And so if you have a life that you want to create, start doing it today. You don't have to wait till 2020, because let's be honest, January 1st is not going to be that much different than November 17th. The only difference is you got time to prepare for January 1st. But when you get off of this, and if you're not watching it today live and you're watching it on a replay, or if you're listening to it on the podcast, it's still the same thing. Start today. Write your list, make decisions on what you want to do, and prioritize. And with that, if there are any people who said, well, look, I like what you're saying, I would like to do some one-on-one sessions. We will have some one-on-one sessions that come up really soon, because I want to give you an opportunity to put your stuff together. And what we're going to do, if you're interested in marketing, on December 7th, I'm going to be hosting the Resolution Summit, which is going to be right here inside of the Nussbaum Center from 10 to 2. This will help all of my entrepreneurs and business owners to get their marketing together for 2020, all right? And so you get to work with me, the Confidence Catalyst, aka Lady Business, so that this way we can get your business ready as far as your marketing goes. It's absolutely free for you to attend. You can go to my website at ladybusiness.com, but you can also go to the GTCC Small Business Center website, which is sbc.gtcc.edu, and you can register today, because I want to see your business be successful, and I want you to show up and show out in 2020 and really start now, and I want you to give it to the people. So check out Real Ass Affirmations, register for the Resolution Summit, start writing your list, and then tune in every week from 8 a.m. until 10 a.m. And we're going to have some great content out there for you. I hope you've enjoyed today being able to see our live guests and then our pre-recorded. And as you can see, we also improved and we got those commercials up in there for you. So continue watching, because I'm going to continue to give it to the people. Bye, guys. Thank you so much for listening to Give It to the People Radio. Make sure that you follow us online at ladybusiness.com, LADYBIZNESS. We look forward to helping you grow, sustain, and maintain your business.